The Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas and the New Orleans ramming and shooting and mass destruction are not related. They are completely unrelated. Well, that seems unlikely. I mean, there's a lot of coincidences there. Like they were, they both rented electric trucks. They both rented them from the same place. The attack happened on the same day. They were both Army veterans, and uh, they both served at Fort Bragg, which is now Fort Liberty, and they were both in the Middle East at the same time. That's a lot of coincidences. Ignore the coincidences, they are completely unrelated. I mean, there's got to be some kind of connection. There's more coincidences in this story than the JFK Abraham Lincoln set of coincidences. I mean, this is kind of hard to ignore. And then what about those other things that happened on the same night, the same day? Like there were 13 people shot outside of a nightclub in New York City in Queens, and wasn't that, could that be related? I mean, all this stuff happening on the same night. The shooting in Queens was gang related. It was not related to this. It was gang related. Oh, so you caught him. You have suspects. You know who did that then. That's a relief. Actually, no, we did not do not have any leads. We did not have any knowledge of who the suspects were in the New York shooting, but we know it was not related. So you got four guys just walk up for no reason to the front of a nightclub, open fire, shoot 13 people, get into a car down the street with out of state plates and disappear. And you might think that's not related, that's not terrorism. It's the same night. We got the Tesla truck thing, and in the January morning, we got the New Year's Eve slash January 1st morning thing in New Orleans, and now we got this shooting in in New York, and you got no leads, but you say it's not related. Uh, What about that thing in Idaho where that guy was caught putting improvised explosive devices on a freight train in Idaho, and they caught him before it blew up? I mean, what's going on here? It all happened on the same night, and yet you're saying it's unrelated. This is crazy. This has got to be related somehow to each other. There has to be some connection. Conspiracy theorist, you do not know what you are talking about. None of this is related. Conspiracy theorist, off with your head. Geez, okay. Take it easy. Don't get out of shape. You don't need to come after me. I'm just asking questions, man. What's up? You are a conspiracy theorist. The biggest threat to America is not terrorism, it is white supremacy. And Joseph Biden does not have cognitive decline. Donald Trump has cognitive decline. And above all and beyond everything, these are not the droids you seek or the drones you seek. Wait, these are not the drones you seek. Okay, Sage Wanderer here, and I'm coming at you from my cabin down by the creek. So, do you believe this stuff is unrelated? Everything happening on the same night? I laid out some of the coincidences between the Cybertruck explosion, and the events that happened in New Orleans on Bourbon Street. Um, I think that the coincidences are impossible to ignore. I think that the government's denial of such things, of any connection whatsoever, shows at least a naivete, if not an active attempt at covering something bigger up. So, what could it be? Well, some people claim it's because both these guys, the Cybertruck event and the guy that did the damage in New Orleans, that these two guys were radicalized while in the military, and that heard one veteran talk about how he's kind of bitter because as a 19-year-old he joined up after 9/11, was immediately sent to Iraq and Afghanistan. He fought over there, and before long he realized he was fighting for a lie. There weren't any weapons of mass destruction. Saddam Hussein didn't have anything to do with 9/11, and he realized that he was fighting an oil war for corporate America, and it caused a dissidence in himself. It caused him to have an issue with the U.S. government and the military in particular. And he claims that probably that's what's going on with these two guys. The guy who did the thing with the Cybertruck in Vegas was an active member of the Special Forces, a Green Beret. Uh, he has in common with the individual who did the thing in New Orleans that they were both stationed at Fort Bragg, which is now Fort Liberty. They were both in Iraq and Afghanistan at the same time. And but they say that's just a coincidence. You know, they both rented electric trucks. They both rented them from the same outfit. So what could this be? Well, we're going to go into conspiracy theory land here and talk about something that kind of made me famous on this channel. MK Ultra. MK Ultra. As you know, my biggest, most viewed video was how I met an MK Ultra trainer. How this person told me how they use mind control and torture on individuals, and how they've created a army of sleeper cells who can be activated with a catchphrase said to them over a telephone, and then they will carry out their pre-programmed training and commit acts of terror, and will look like they're completely a lone wolf. They'll look like they're acting alone, when in fact they've been programmed, set in place by some shadowy government or para-government, parallel government, deep state, potentially, New World Order, whatever you want to call it. That, you know, my friend Folly told me that they've trained thousands and thousands of these people who, with a code word, can just activate a pre-programmed series of events and activities. So did these two guys on the same day, and potentially the guy up in Idaho who tried to blow up a freight train, the four guys who shot up the front of a nightclub in Queens, were these guys all receiving their marching orders? Did they get that phone call with the trigger word that kicked in this pre-programmed robotic behavior? Well, I will say that the parents of the Green Beret Special Forces, active Special Forces individual who had multiple tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, his parents are perplexed by this. They didn't see it coming. They don't understand why it might have been targeted towards Trump and Elon Musk, since this guy was a big Trump fan, voted for Trump, celebrated when Trump won. He was a patriot. He loved America. And not only that, his parents are perplexed because if he really wanted to, if he set his mind to it, they claim that he had the special knowledge given to him by the military to create a bomb capable of taking out half of that hotel or taking the entire hotel down. That they're perplexed by the inadequacy of what he did, how it had little effect at all. It didn't even break the glass in front of the building, and that puzzles them because they figure if their son was going to go off the deep end, it'd be a much bigger deal than that. This individual also lit the fuse on the incendiary device in the back of the Cybertruck in front of Trump Tower, and then quickly ended his own life with a handgun. And if you were looking at this as MK Ultra training, if you were going to open your mind, you know, and have a little coffee talk here about MK Ultra, what we know about that secret program, what we know from whistleblowers who say it never ended, it's still going on today, that somebody could have activated these two guys, The guy in New Orleans was more effective because he was also radicalized. He was also brainwashed by ISIS. So he had this ISIS brainwashing. Then he had the already existing covert secret brainwashing he got probably at Fort Bragg from the U.S. government. And so he was very effective in what he did. The other guy had the training and the programming from Fort Bragg. He had the MK Ultra training potentially. And this is all just conjecture, right? I'm guessing here. This is a conspiracy theory. And he had the training, but he didn't have the radicalization. He still loved America. He didn't really want to cause massive damage, but he still was compelled by this brainwashing that had been given to him while in the military, that when he received this order to activate, he went on autopilot and did it, but he didn't put his whole heart into it. It wasn't him. It was just the training making him make the move. So he kind of botched it on purpose because he didn't agree on some subconscious level. I mean, what we're talking about is the brainwashing of individuals through torture, sleep deprivation. They break down this person until they can split their personality. One personality is who they claim to be: patriot, soldier, loving husband, father, all of that, pillar of the community. But laying dormant there is this other personality that was shaped under torture, which causes, once given the keyword, for them to go into a hypnotic state and carry out a predetermined plan that was programmed into them. Was this a product of MK Ultra? This is something nobody's talking about. Were these people released onto us right before the inauguration, right at the first of the year? Were they released on us through the deep state, through some covert attempt to cause massive hysteria and potentially declare a national emergency? This doesn't seem like it's enough to declare a national emergency, but Biden is actually openly, or somebody in the Biden administration is leaking that they're discussing declaring a state of emergency because of these two unrelated events. Do you believe Emperor Palpatine, the mainstream media, and the FBI, or are you going to believe your lying eyes? Because the connection between these two guys is beyond coincidental. There has to be some kind of connection. They knew each other, or they're MK Ultra trained assassins. What do you think? Did that program end when they said it did? Was Folly right when she said that they had these sleeper cells of individuals who were ready and willing to create to commit acts of atrocity when a code word was given to them over the phone? Is this fantasy? Or are we living in some dystopian reality? Are they going to really let Donald Trump take power? Or are they going to do whatever they have to do to stop him, including turning this country upside down and enveloping us in chaos? Tell me what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to support this channel. I'm funded by viewers like you. I don't receive any money from advertisers. So look in the description below to find links to PayPal and to Cash App. If you enjoyed this little skit, if you enjoyed this discussion, if you're a regular viewer, please consider supporting me financially so I can keep these videos coming your way. And we'll see you next time from my cabin down by the creek.